Hi guys, welcome to the first introduction video of Notely. Today we are going to talk about the reason behind Notely and what the main core functions are in the Umbraco backoffice. So first, what is Notely? Notely is a backoffice extension plugin for Umbraco. It allows you to add different types of notes to content properties. Notely can be very handy not only for single developers, but also for small and big companies where multiple developers, content writers, and other people are working on the same project. You can just start adding information, IDs, or even task reminders directly in Umbraco without using other tools. What comes with the package? If you install the Umbraco Notely package, a couple of elements are added into the backoffice. First, you will have a new property editor, which is used to create Notely data types. Secondly, you will see a new section called Notely, which we will describe later on. Now, how do you start using it? To start using Notely, we first need to create some custom data types. Here you can choose out of two options. One, if you want to separate nodes for each property, you can use Notely as a container, which is wrapped around a property. So in my example here, you can see I have wrapped Notely around a text string and a text area. The second option, if you want to combine all nodes in one property for, let's say, a tab, you can use Notely as a regular data type. As you can see here, I have created a Notely data type without mentioning a data type. If you want to add another one for maybe the rich text editor, we simply add a new data type, give it a name. As property editor, we choose Notely, and here we select the rich text editor. As final, you can set a limit of nodes that we can add for this property. Standard it's 5, but you can easily set it to any other number. For now, we will leave it as 5. Hit save, and our new custom data type is now created. Next, we will add these to our document types. I already added an example because it's the same as adding standard properties. For this introduction, I have created a composition document type called SEO, where I have added two properties called page title and meta description. The page title property is of type Notely text string, and the meta description is of type Notely text area. My home document type will use this composition of SEO, but as you can see, I also added a regular Notely property where we can add nodes. So here I have a property nodes, which is of type Notely. To make it more complete, we will now add our new created Notely RTE, our rich text editor, to our content tab. So we click Add Property, body text. As our editor, we choose Notely RTE and hit Submit. Save the document type, and that's it. So now we can start adding nodes into our content section. Again, I have already added one node called BE, which is of type home. On the top SEO, you can see the page title and the meta description. Because we have wrapped Notely around the text string and text area, you can see for each property the amount of nodes. For now it's 0, and a button to add a node. On the content tab, you can see our regular nodes property, and below is our new added property body text. Now you can see that our rich text editor has a message that is saying, to add nodes to this property, you first need to add a value and hit save, or hit save and publish and refresh the page. This is because Notely needs to know the content ID and the property type ID. So after we hit save and publish and refresh the page, our body text property will now also be ready for adding nodes. Okay, let's add our first node. Imagine you are working on your content structure and you have this wonderful idea that you want to add to this node in the future. Let's say at our body text, we want to add a photo of the company. So we could just go to the property body text and click the add button. Now you have a new dialog open to start adding notes. Each note has a type, and by default, Notely comes with 4 types. The info type, used to add more details to a property. To do, used to add a task to the property. Development, used to inform that something needs to be developed for this property. And final test, used to remind you that this property needs to be tested. So going back to our example of adding a company photo, we can choose to do. As you can see, by selecting another type of note, you get some more options. If a note type is a task, you can assign it to someone and set its state. For information notes, like our info type, we don't have this ability, and we can just add a title and description. We now can add a title, add image, description, add company photo, in line with introduction text. Then we can assign it to a user. You can leave it blank, so anyone can do this, or you can assign it to yourself or another Umbraco backoffice user. For now, I will choose myself to do the job. And for the state, I can select between the open state, approved, pending, and done state. Because I will do this task, but not now, I set the state to be approved. Submit. And voila, we have added our first note. By default, all notes are collapsed. In this way, it's user-friendly. And if you want to see the notes, you just open them by clicking on the arrow. Notes are always displayed by the following columns: the type of note by icon, but if you hover it, you can get the name of the type. So you can see it's the to-do type. The title of the note, add image. The description of the note together with the person it's assigned to. So you can see here it's assigned to me. The state and some actions. The first action opens the edit dialog for this note. So for example, you want to update the state from approved to pending. The second action is to delete the note. So that's it basically for adding notes on properties. You just go to the property, hit add, and voila. The same counts also for the regular notes property. So here for our notes, it works the same way. You hit add, choose your type. Now we are going to add an info note, add a title and description, and click submit. Some information, some more information, and submit. So that was for the contact section. We will now go to the Notely section where we can simply do the same thing. The first option you can see here is to view all notes. The way the notes are structured is by grouping it together on content node and then on property. So you can see we didn't add any notes to our page title and meta description. But you can see our notes for body text and for our notes property. Everything is completely the same as in the content section. You can add a note by clicking the add button. You can edit a note and you can delete a note. Also, if you have many notes, you can use some filtering to make it more compact and have a better overview. You can filter on the note type, the state, so pending, or maybe approved. And you can even hide properties that haven't got any notes. Other functions are expanding and collapsing. And you can go to the edit page of the content node. In my task, all of these functions are also available. The only difference here is that you will only see the nodes that are assigned to you. This makes it easier to see what needs to be done in this project and on which particle item for yourself. As you can see, there is only one assigned to me. If you add another node assigned to someone else, then this will not be visible in my task list. So let's say, for example, on the page title, we add a new node of type to do, call it SEO, add some SEO magic keywords here. We assign it to someone else and hit submit. If we now go back to our my task, you will see this is not visible here. So these are basically the main functions of Notely. The only two items that I also would like to mention are settings and cleanup. Under settings, you can see the types and the states that are available in Notely. Types can be changed, states aren't. In the fresh installation, you can see we have 4 types, but you can simply add your own ones. So for example, we want to add a new type called SEO. You can select a nice icon for that. You can say, okay, you can assign it to someone and hit submit. If we now go back to our early created node on page title, we could change this type to SEO because it's more relevant. So if we go back to our all nodes, we say SEO and submit. Then the last one is a cleanup. If you go to the cleanup, you can see why this is added. All nodes that are not linked to an existing content node and an existing property will be removed from the database. This can happen when you remove a property from a document type. If you remove a content node, the nodes will automatically be removed. Basically, this is useful when you have nodes added to a property, but then suddenly you remove the property from the document type. For now, there is no event to catch this, and to prevent the database from growing too big, you can clean up these comments here. Just click on the cleanup nodes, and then you will get a notification about the amount of nodes that are deleted from the database. So now it's 0. So this was the introduction video of Notely. If you have any questions or improvements or issues, please share them on the support forum on our.umbraco.com. We are currently building version 2.0, where you also can add comments to nodes and view log entries about the changes on a node. But this we will cover in a new video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy Notely.